All right. So Simone, the next thing I'm going to do in testing your lower limb is look how tight your calf muscles are. So I'm going to take my hand around here. Try not to help me. And try not to help me. That's actually pretty good. Do you run or anything? How's your fitness? Exercise at all?
I do a little bit of yoga.
Yep, okay. And yoga's good because it makes the muscles long. Sometimes the calves can be pretty tight, but yoga with your downward dogs, things like that would make them extra long. Same thing, keep that leg in that position, and I'm going to test the strength of your shin muscle, your tibialis anterior. So keep it there, don't let me move it. Okay, and that's moving pretty easy. So what we're doing is that shin muscle, the tibialis anterior, comes across and attaches down into that medial cuneiform. So that muscle, or the cuboid, that area there, means that you're actually not being able to pull your shin, your foot up in that position. We're going to wake up both those areas. Now your calf wasn't too bad, but your shin was. So when we find the point for your calf, everybody's different because our tummy lengths are different. So I'm looking for the highest point of your ribs, which is right there, and your belly button. And I'm going to do a perfect line across. I'm going to go halfway and I'm going to come out about 1 centimetre and I'm going to sink down. And you might find that there's a little tender point in there somewhere. Yeah. So once I'm in there, I'm just going to give it a little 30 seconds, a little tweak. And once we do this one, we're also going to come down and do your shin, your tibialis anterior. And that whole line actually affects everything. So when you're weak in your hip flexors, you'll use your quads. When your quads overwork, your hamstrings and quads play up. Then you have changes in your knee angle. Then your shin and calf play up. And that's when we start seeing that whole sequence. So that's 30 seconds there. The last point we're going to find for your shin, your tibialis anterior, is we're looking for the inguinal ligament. So I'm going to feel along your hip bone until there's just, you can feel there's a little band. Yeah, so I'm just coming above it, and that will probably be a little bit tender too. Yeah, and sometimes it can be quite tender. So if it's too sore, let me know. There's a couple of these that I would get you to do at home. So you just be rubbing these 30 seconds once a day to make your quads as strong as they turned. And we're going to check this out as well in a second.
Sure.
How many times a week do you do yoga?
I try to go at least 2.
Yeah.
A bit slightly.
Yeah, I know that. Excellent. So let's retest these again. I'm going to check your calf range. So how does that feel this time compared to the first time? Same? Smoother?
Oh, probably smoother, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you have to push as hard or like...
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So keep that leg up in that position for me. Don't let me move it.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Great work, well done. So that's your lower limb, and that's what I get you to do once a day, probably in the morning, but definitely before you do yoga.
Yeah.
Great.